Australia is moving to further strengthen its world-first social media ban for children just 6 months after the law came into effect. As evidence shows, many teenagers are still able to access major platforms. Now, the government has announced it will double fines for tech companies and give its internet regulators stronger powers to enforce the law. Australia's social media ban for users under the age of 16 came into effect in December 2025. Making the country the first in the world to introduce a nationwide restriction of its kind. Now, under the law, social media companies are responsible for preventing under 16s from opening or maintaining accounts and can face heavy penalties if they fail to take reasonable steps to enforce the rules in recent weeks. However, the government said there is growing evidence that many young users are still accessing social media despite the restrictions. A study published this month found that about 85% of Australians aged 12 to 15 continued using social media 3 months after the ban, often by entering false ages or using selfies that were accepted during age verification. In response, the government has announced plans to double the maximum penalty for systematic failure to enforce the law, raising the fine from 49.5 million Australian dollars to 99 million Australian dollars. Now, the changes would also give the E-Safety Commissioner greater powers to demand evidence from the social media companies showing what they have done to stop underage users from creating accounts. The government said that the E-Safety Commissioner is currently investigating possible non-compliance by Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Snapchat and TikTok. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says the big tech companies are not doing enough to comply with the law, while Communications Minister Anika Wells accused platforms of doing the bare minimum to meet their obligations. Not everyone is convinced the tougher approach will work.
Unlikely. I think that, again, the penalties were there before and they didn't stop people, so why would increasing the penalties necessarily put any more pressure on the companies to actually change anything when they make so much money as well off of people being on the websites?
Well, some Australians question whether higher fines would change the behavior of large technology companies, arguing that the existing penalties had already failed to stop children from accessing social media.